Are you relying on motivation and willpower to try and achieve your weight loss goals and your long-term health goals? If you are, this could be where you've been going wrong for weeks, months, or even years. So willpower and motivation, they are not an unlimited supply. In fact, they're designed to just give you short bursts. So maybe it is that you want to lift a personal best on weights at the gym, or you are thinking about wanting to lose weight quickly for maybe a wedding or a party or a birthday. And maybe it's just, something like sort of 6 pounds or 8 pounds over a couple of weeks. Motivation and willpower will help you achieve those, because they're short-term goals. You need an increase of adrenaline in your body to be able to achieve those short-term goals. But this is why so many women and men, but so many women will fail at their weight loss goals, because they think they have to rely on willpower and motivation. So they have to think about willpower when they see a piece of chocolate cake, or, oh, I mustn't have that, I'm trying to be good. Or motivation, I've got to motivate myself to go to the gym. And how many times do you hear people say, I've lost my motivation, I've lost my mojo? It is impossible to have motivation 365 days of the year. And a lot of people ask me, how are you so motivated? How do you have all that willpower? And the honest truth is, I have a little bit of both. I have a little bit of motivation, have a little bit of willpower, but actually it is not motivation and willpower that I use to either help me with my health goals, to help me improve my health, to help with weight loss, any of those things. It is not sustainable over weeks, months, and years to rely on motivation and willpower. And if that's what you've been doing, then it's probably why you've not achieved a long-term sustainable lifestyle change. You have been doing the kind of motivation goes, motivation goes. And you end up in this cycle, whether it's a cycle of yo-yo dieting or a cycle of training for a couple of months and then stopping training for a couple of months. And it's where that inconsistency comes. So instead of relying on motivation and willpower, what you need to start using is you need to start implementing, first of all. You need to start using discipline, and more often than not, you need accountability. Because especially as adults, we are very, very good at telling ourselves a story about, oh, we don't need to do that. We're tired, we've had a long day at work, it's been really stressful. Whereas when we're children, we don't have that option, because if we say we're not going to clean our bedroom, usually there's an adult who says to us, you are going to clean it, and until you clean that bedroom, you're not going to be able to play, or you're not going to be able to have your favorite ice cream, or whatever it might be. But as adults, we stop being accountable to ourselves, because we're adults. We can do what we want. If we don't want to clean our home that evening, we don't have to clean our home. And this is where those disciplines can sometimes rub off in other areas of our life. So first things first is implementation. And one thing that I do every single morning when I get up is I make my bed. I also put, my book on my pillow. I put my pillow spray on my pillow. I just do all of that, open the curtains, all those different things, because that's already setting and implementing certain goals for me for the day. So I feel like I've accomplished something, which then kind of almost feeds and fuels me to then achieve the next thing, whatever that might be, whether it's having a healthy, nutritious breakfast, whether it's, unloading the dishwasher before work, whether it's going for an open water swim, whatever it might be, it feeds that next task. Whereas if I get up in the morning and don't bother making the bed, it then has that kind of impact on everything else that I do that morning. So implementation is the first thing, and discipline. There's nobody coming around to check and see if I've made my bed. I'm not making it for anybody else. I'm making it because that's my first commitment of the day, to say to myself that I am disciplined and that I am in control of the things that I do. And I am setting myself that example first thing in the morning to have that knock-on effect during the day. And I'll use an example that I went open water swimming this morning. It was cold, really, really cold. And I don't go every day. I go kind of really sporadically. So there's no commitment. I don't meet anybody to go. I don't kind of commit to it by putting it out there and saying I'm going tomorrow, whatever. But when I went to bed last night, I got my swimming costume ready, I got my dry robe ready, I got my buoyancy aid ready, I got all those things ready and packed them and put them by the door. So there's my implementation. I've already implemented that. That's everything that I need to take with me. I'd already got my work prepared last night, ready for my clients for when I got back. So there was no excuse in my head of I can't go because I'm going to run late for work. So there's my implementation already. I've got things ready, but also by getting things ready, I have psychologically fed my brain that in the morning, you're getting up, you're putting your swimming costume on, and you're going for a swim. And then this morning when I wake up, there's that discipline there, because last night I had already set in my mind that I was going to do it. And actually, I've already kind of got to the end of the story, which is how I kind of like to explain it. So in my mind last night when I went to bed, I was already thinking about how I was going to feel after that swim today. I knew it was going to be cold, but I also know that from open water swimming before, I feel invigorated, I feel alive, I feel this buzz of energy afterwards. I feel such a sense of pride because I've done something that's quite far out of my comfort zone. So there comes that discipline, and the accountability in this case is to myself, but it's because over years I have, implemented things and disciplined myself on things that helps me to be accountable. But I have my own coaches. I have a business coach. I have a health coach. I have a personal trainer. And the reason I do that is because I know that as an adult, sometimes if I'm tired or it's been a long week at work or whatever it might be, I might just think to myself, do you know what? I'm just going to leave that for tonight. But when you have to be accountable to somebody else who is a professional, whether it's a business coach, a health coach, a personal trainer, it is far less likely that you will not be accountable, because you know that there will be some sort of repercussion, whether that's your coach messaging you and saying, hey, you didn't check in. Hey, what did you eat yesterday? Hey, how come you didn't turn up to personal training? Business coach, hey, how come you didn't do X? How come you didn't turn up to our call? So having that accountability makes a massive difference, because otherwise, you know what? Would we ever achieve any of our goals if our mindset was, I just, either can't be bothered to do it or I'll just let it go? So the other thing is that every time you implement something, you have that discipline and you are accountable, you start to fuel your own belief system, which in turn starts to build momentum. So when people say to me about motivation, I say, don't think about motivation, think about momentum. Okay, momentum is like, you're sort of doing that sprint, you're getting up some speed, and then all of a sudden you're in this full run, or you're on a ski slope and, it's a really, really slow sort of start. And then all of a sudden you hit a blue run or a black run or whatever it might be. And you've got that momentum and you are just going. And that's where you don't need motivation. You don't need willpower. You just need that magic recipe of the implementation, the discipline, and the accountability to help you to work towards that until it becomes an autopilot that those are the things that you do, rather than the things that you don't do. But what you also have to bear in mind is that every time you don't follow these, every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't do it, so you say, I'm going to eat really, really healthy tomorrow, and then by mid-morning, lunchtime, you've already stopped that and you've already opened a packet of biscuits, or you've got toast and the butter out and everything. You have again fed back into your own psychology and your own limiting beliefs that it's okay to fail, but also that that's a pattern that you do. You don't achieve because you start something and then you fail and you never ever achieve it. So you're constantly refeeding your mind with those thoughts rather than breaking the cycle. And Every time you do that, you lower the standards for yourself, whether it's not making your bed in the morning, whether it's, choosing the high calorie, nutrient low foods over the healthier foods, whether it's not going to the gym when you said you'd go to the gym, all those different things. Every time you back away from the commitment, or you don't achieve that commitment that you said in your mind you would do, you are constantly lowering your standards to yourself, but you are also giving yourself permission to continue to do it time and time and time again, which in turn lowers your self-worth and lowers your belief in achieving it. So just think to yourself, how often do you say, I haven't got the motivation to do it, I've got no willpower? And instead of using those words, start to think to yourself, I need to implement, I need to have that discipline, and you've got to put that discipline in. But if you know that you can't implement and discipline yourself, accountability is the way to go. If you have somebody who, as a coach, helps you to stay accountable, helps you to implement things, makes things easier for you, then what happens is you learn those tools, you start to do them on a daily basis, that becomes part a habit and a ritual, and then you're able to continue those things on your own. But sometimes you need that momentum, and you can't build it on your own. If you've only ever been used to willpower and motivation, it will take you time to learn how to implement and how to be accountable to yourself, and how to have that discipline on a daily basis. You do not need willpower and motivation to achieve your weight loss goals, and you do not need willpower and motivation to achieve long-term sustainable lifestyle results.